You can save 20% off Truck Stop Load Board Pro for 6 months. The best tool for serious carriers. Don't miss out. Click the link in the description to get 20% off Load Board Pro for 6 months. Need capital to grow your business or cover unexpected expenses? Rock Financial has your back. Whether you're looking for a flexible line of credit, a fast cash advance, or tailored working capital solutions, Rock Financial makes it simple to get funded, often in as little as 24 hours. No hidden fees, an easy application, and real support from people who know the business. Ready to take your hustle to the next level? Tap the link in the description to get started with Rock Financial today. Wish insurance was this easy? With LogRock, it's like magic. Real coverage appears when you need it. No tricks. Get covered now. Click the link in the description.
Warning: the following content contains strong language and may not be suitable for children. This content is primarily for adults, as this is a trucking channel and truckers have filthy mouths. Please don't tweak if I say viewer discretion is advised.
Sweet.
What's up? Come on in, make sure you guys hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, turn on all post notifications. How's everybody doing tonight? If you guys are looking for insurance for your box truck, cargo van, semi-truck, gig thing that you do, there's a link pinned to the description below for LogRock. If you're up for renewal and you're looking for just a cheaper insurance alternative compared to what you currently have now, it's also available for you. There's a link in the description below. Go over to the LogRock. The good people at LogRock have been hooking people up with cheaper insurance. So make sure you guys utilize that resource that I have. LogRock is the sponsor of this channel. Shout out to the good people over there at LogRock. Come on in, come on in. Make sure you guys hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, turn on post notifications. Late night edition. I'm gonna try to hit the late night people that's burning the miles up in the middle of the night. You know, a lot of my Amazonians. Shout out to all the Amazonians that's up, burning that midnight oil. Shout out to everybody that drive overnight, all my expedited cargo van people. Shout out to my box truck people that's driving overnight. My moving people and my final mile people asleep right now. So everybody that's burning miles, trying to get through the night. You know what I'm saying? What's up? What's up? Shout out to who we got in the building. I know we ain't expecting a lot of people. Shout out to Sheridan. What's going on? Shout out to the MGM gang. I know, Jonathan. I got to do that etiquette. I had it all set up. I had it all set up for last night, and then I was just too tired. But I'm gonna get to it before the end of the week. Shout out to Ice Cold. Shout out to James. Heavy box freight in the house. What's going on? Shout out to Frank Sinatra. Shout out to 608. Come on in, guys. Make sure you guys hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, turn on post notifications. So tonight we're going to talk about probably one of the most popular topics for newcomers, people that's looking to come into the business. It's now the right time to start a box truck business. Now, this is probably one of the most asked questions for new people. And I know, the narrative is loud and it's emotional online right now. And it's probably, for the people who ask this question, they definitely get the wrong answer. I'm here to tell you that, what you've been hearing, the economy is bad. Don't start a box truck business right now. Inflation is high. Rates are low. That's for all people who just don't know what the hell they're doing. That's bad information. What I'm here to tell you is that this is the perfect time to start a box truck business. This is the perfect time to start a box truck business. I'm going to tell you something different. This is the exact economy that you want to start, right? This is the economy where, the real is separated from the fake. This is the exact economy a real business owner and a real person who is really doing this is going to thrive. This is the smartest time to start. This is the smartest time to start. Now, when I say start now, I'm not saying exactly tomorrow, right? There's a few things that you have to keep in consideration. I'm just speaking as far as the economy wise. Is this, because people are saying, oh, it's a bad economy. Economy wise, this is the right time to start, right? This particular time, we are definitely going into slow season, right? So don't think, okay, if you go start tomorrow, like you're gonna be rocking and rolling, even if you are under my tutelage and you know what you're doing. No, you're gonna hit a brick wall in January. That's just inevitable. It is what it is. I'm speaking from an economic standpoint, right? Because now a lot of people are saying, no, 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 don't, no. This is the perfect economy to start in. When people are greedy, you should be fearful. When people are greedy, you should be fearful. When people are fearful, you should be greedy. Everybody's scared right now, which gives you the best opportunity to come in. All right. Tough economics create strong entrepreneurs. I started, moons ago, in a recession. It was a housing market crash. But guess what? That presented a great opportunity. Unfortunately, I made a bulk of my money upon people losing their homes. All right. It's an unfortunate situation, but that presented the best time to get into the moving business. And it was unbeknownst to me, you know what I'm saying, at that particular time, why, it was just booming, booming, booming. But I quickly figured out why. You know, easy economies, similar to what you saw during the pandemic, create lazy thinkers. A lot of the people that failed and are continuing to fail are called what I call pandemic babies. Right? These are people that got it easy. Those are the people, and we're never going to be short of pandemic content. Like this is going to always be just a talking point in this content, because a lot of the people that are still hanging on by their hairs on their chin, that have this lazy mindset, are people that just have gotten through the cracks over the course of the last couple of years since the market normalized, right? These are people that are lazy thinkers because they didn't have to think when they came into this market uh, in the pandemic. Like you couldn't fail during that time. I say it all the time. Rates were extremely high. And, even though the cost of entry was high, the rates just far surpassed the cost of operation. So an idiot could be successful. Literally, idiots were successful. They didn't know that they were idiots, right? Because of what was going on. But these are people who just weren't abreast of what was going on, right? So now these are the people that are thinking, oh, well, I'm just waiting for the things to get back on track. But what they think back on track, they'll never see that again. These people are also hype chasers. The people that are saying now is not the right time, these are hype chasers. These are people that chase hype. These were the same people, like I said, that came in that was chasing the hype during that time period. None of these people that created the hype and created that whole trend are around now. And the people that are still around from that time, from what I see, they ain't doing too well either. And I'm just keeping it a buck. You know what I'm saying? I'm just keeping it a buck. The people that's still around, that was around during that time, that you did what I'm saying, that was selling you this shit with no direction, they ain't doing too good theyself. I'm just keeping it a buck. These is facts. I only really see two people out here that's really doing it. That's active still, that's doing it, with no struggle. No signs of struggle. If anytime you complain about some shit, then you ain't doing too good. Just keep it in what, just keep it in a buck. People who get lucky, I think a lot of people that is saying now ain't the right time that's in, that came in during that time period, that's hanging on by the hairs of their chin. These are people that's getting lucky. They just skating by. People who confuse momentum with skill. It's a difference. They not the same. This is why it's the best time to come in, because this is your competition. The rest of the people that's left are just seasoned people who know what they're doing. The rest of the people outside of these people are just seasoned people that know what they're doing. These people are people that know their numbers. These are people that know their numbers. These are people that respect their overhead. These are people who move lean. These are people who focus on margins. These are people that treat their business like a business and not a hustle. These are the other people that are in the business that are doing well that you don't see complaining. Most likely, these people were in business prior to the pandemic. When the economy is tight like it is right now, only people with discipline are going to survive. Only people with discipline. Period. Another reason why this presents a great time. You're going to come in and you're going to have to get to work, unlike the people that came in, uh, you know, 4 and 5 years ago. A lot of those people came in and was bullshitting from the moment they came in and was still making money because of what was going on at that particular time. The people that should be coming into this business right now are the people that have extreme discipline. Now is a better time. If you ask me, today is a better time to get into this business than it was any time in 2020 or 2021. Getting into this business today is a better time to get in than 2020 and 2021. All your amateur competition has pretty much failed already or pretty much on the brink of failing, and anybody that's not operating efficiently is on their way out the door as well too. Those are people who bought brand new trucks that they couldn't afford, who were ignorant. Those are people that relied on Amazon Relay. I'm keeping it a buck. They didn't understand that cost per mile. They didn't save for repairs. They treated this trucking thing like a gig. They jumped in because TikTok, your favorite content creators over there on TikTok, told them to do so. Now, the people that was on TikTok and the Grammy Gram and some of your favorite YouTubers that told you this was the best shit since sliced bread, which it is if you know what you're doing. The same people was people that started complaining. Some of these people continue to complain that are hanging around. Some of those people that sold you that dream complained and have failed back in 2022, 2023, 2024. A lot of these people, somebody put me abreast on something with Amazon, and I'm just keeping it a buck. I'm not, trust me, I'm not on no bullshit. I'm just, you know me, I just keep it a buck. A lot of people don't like the fact that I keep it a buck, but I keep it a buck. All the changes that Amazon making. One of your favorite ones went out and got a reefer truck, and I heard Amazon don't even let you have a reefer truck no more. Ain't that some shit? Ain't that some shit? Damn. That's the shit I'm talking about. And it sucks. It sucks. A lot of people done tapped out. But see, here's the thing. And I ain't on no bullshit, trust me. I'm just keeping it a buck with you. That's a good thing, bro. These are all good things for a strong minded business person, right? We want people to not do what's in their best interest. This is what makes it easier for people like you and I. Because this means that the industry is returning back to real business owners. And that's what you want. You don't want hype-driven chaos like you saw years prior. There's still hype-driven chaos now, but it's not in the positive direction. It's more in the negative direction because people are complaining. The fewer clueless people that you are competing against, the better your opportunities become. Another great reason why now is a great time to come into this business, costs are lower. This is one of the main reasons that I say now is a better time than any time in 2021 when a lot of people came in. Used truck prices have normalized. You can get a 26 footer in the $20,000 to $30,000 range. That same truck went from 25,000, 30,000 to 70 and $80,000 during that time. In 2023, 2024, when I was doing content, a lot of people that bought those overpriced trucks, they just couldn't maintain them once the market started to normalize. Their cost of entry was way higher. They bought into a bubble. Remember when I did that video back in 2022? And I'm going to always rub this in people's face. Because I remember one day somebody said, Mark, why you always got to rub it in our face? Because I have to. It was okay that when I was telling people this back in 2022 for you to troll me and say that I was bitter. See, but y'all really, because I had just started creating content, so y'all really didn't know I was really him. And I get it. I get it. Because I was in a cesspool of people that was creating content at that time, and nobody really could decipher who was who and what was what. I had to come to realize that because at that particular time when I first started creating content, everybody was just, yeah, Amazon relay, it's peak season, trucking, do this. And I'm just like, hold on, I'm coming in to creating content as a vet, a real vet, like over 10-year vet at that time. And I'm like, man, this shit don't make no sense what these people is telling them. This shit don't make sense. So I started doing the content, telling people the real. I did a video called The Box Truck Bubble. I remember, I ain't gonna say nobody names. Because one of these guys still create content. He's one of the bigger guys on YouTube. And, he said some disparaging things about Big Mark. I ain't forgot. I remember when I did that first peak season. Ain't it peak season right now? Is it peak season right now? Why ain't nobody doing no peak season content? Those people that's been watching this content for some years, you know why. They ain't gonna make that call because they was wrong. Remember when I told people wasn't gonna be no peak season? And then they was just trolling me and talking crazy. And guess what? I was right. That's why I rub it in their faces. I'm gonna continue to do it. They ain't gonna do nothing about it. They ain't gonna do nothing about it. So just like people are saying now ain't the right time, I'm going to tell you the opposite still to this day. This is a better time to start. Your cost of entry is going to be extremely low in comparison to then. The people that bought trucks then bought trucks in a bubble. And when the bubble burst, they were still stuck with that high cost of entry. That an inflated market because of the rates due to the demand could justify, but once those rates couldn't justify that cost of entry, those people were left holding the bag. Now you're coming in with a low cost of entry. And if you operate lean and you know what you're doing and you can be profitable in this market, if the market ever does have a boom cycle again, which won't be comparable to 2020, 2021, that was probably a once in a lifetime thing. So if I say boom, some type of uptick, not to that extreme, but some type of uptick, then that'll just be a bonus for you. This is why now is a better time. Insurance is leveling out. A lot of the dun-da-dunts, a lot of the retards that fucked it up, which is what caused insurance to go through the roof over the course of the past few years have gone. They failed. And they're continuing to fail for the ones that are still holding on by the hairs of their chinny chin chin. All right. So insurance prices are leveling. You don't hear the stories like we were hearing uh, uh, um, a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, with the dumb shit that was going on. People stealing freight and leaving freight and leaving shit. I heard people about Amazon leaving shit, not waiting for the post office people, leaving the shit, all types of goofy shit, right? Getting into accidents, all type of stuff that would make insurance go from, and when it becomes just overwhelming for the insurance companies to the point where they're getting left holding the bag because the people that are, are costing them money just becomes too exorbitant, then everybody has to chip in and cover the cost. And that's what was happening. But most of these people are long gone. Parts and repair, pretty much predictable again. Things have come back to a normal state. Freight volume has stabilized. We're not in a high demand anymore. The capacity is still high. It's not as high as it was, but it outweighs the demand. But for the most part, freight volume has stabilized. Final mile is still growing. It's not shrinking. And I'm speaking on final mile from all facets. It's still growing. It's not shrinking. So more opportunity. We're in a stable market. And to be honest with you, a stable market is better than a hot market. A hot market is temporary. A stable market can be temporary because we can dip, or it can go up, but it's more predictable. I rather deal with something that's more predictable. And also, a hot market, anybody can make money in that. And we saw that. Anybody can't make money in this market. Everybody can't make money in this market. That's why I'm real critical on the people that be complaining. Both from the viewer, subscriber, perspective, even content creators. I just, like, a content creator, you shouldn't create content. If you are the type of individual, you create content. You are the person that people are looking to gain knowledge. So if I look at you, if I would land on a content creator page and I see him complaining, then you already know what I think about him. I'm going to give him the side eye. In a stable market, which what we are in right now, you have to strategize to get ahead. You can't be a dunce like a lot of people were during the pandemic. Specialized lanes. One of them is final mile. OTR ain't for everybody. A lot of people don't want to go OTR. But there's plenty of opportunity in specialized lanes like final mile, furniture, mattress, appliances, so on and so forth. I did a live stream Saturday discussing final mile. People still need their homes furnished, but more importantly with final mile is appliances, right? This is not something that people always buy frivolously. A lot of the times when a person gets an appliance, it's because of a warranty issue or because their current appliance has gone kaput. Your refrigerator goes out, like I say all the time, that's something that has to be replaced fast. Washer and dryer, fast. Stove, fast. All right, these are things that normally cannot and will not wait. Right, these are necessities in the home. These aren't like frivolous purchases. And every day, every minute, somebody's stuff is going kaput. All right. So final mile presents a great opportunity, all right, for you to thrive, even in a bad economy. Bad economy or not, people are going to always need an essential. And one of the essentials in final mile, probably the main one, is appliances. All right. So another reason, well, let me just go over some quick tips. I hope everybody's doing good. I see people coming in. Shout out to I Get Paid to Wait. Shout out to James. Who was that? DeAndre. What's going on? What's going on? Going on. All right. So if you are one of the individuals who's asking the question, is now a good time to start if you came in late? Yes. The number one thing that you want to do if you're coming in right now is start lean. This is something that I tell everybody. I know people will tell you, don't go out and buy this older truck. Go out and buy this newer truck. Do this, do that. I'm telling you, start lean. The key to this business is one, low cost of entry, starting lean and staying lean. Forget what everybody telling you. I know some people out there and tell you got to keep a new truck, and some people won't work with you if you don't have a newer truck. And that is true in some aspects, but guess what? These people ain't the only game in town. I know people that are running right now. I got a guy in my Discord got 4 trucks, and they all, I think this youngest truck is like a 2010, 2011. Ain't making a bag. His first truck was a '02, and that's one of his top money makers. Then he bought a '04. Another guy in my Discord has got a '05 International. And these guys run OTR. You never really see them in the chat. They'll be in the Discord because they're always working. So I don't really subscribe to the noise that people say that you got to have a newer truck. To me, that's a recipe to send your goo. If you believe that shit, then that's on you. But that ain't true. And if somebody don't want to work with you because you don't have a specific year truck, they ain't the only game in town. Trust me. That's just like a chick. If you holler at one chick and she turn you down, there's a billion more chicks out here in these streets. I'm not gonna go out and spend a bag of money based on what one or two or three or four or five companies may require. I'm not gonna let the stipulations of a few people determine what my operation cost is. I'm coming in with a low cost of entry, and the people that don't want to work with me because my truck, and you would do what you want to do. You know what I'm saying? If you want to come in with a 2020, 2021, 2022, that's on you. Cool. And the people who don't want to work with a truck that may be a 2011 or 2010 or 2008 or 2012, then so be it. There's other people that will. Me personally, I'm not letting nobody dictate to me what my operation cost is going to be. Period. So me personally, buy used. Avoid a heavy truck payment. Most people that come in, they have no sense of direction. One thing, if you haven't learned one thing from my channel, if you don't listen to me, pay attention to the clips from the call-in show. If you don't listen to anything I say, pay attention to the people that you see come up here. So these are your peers. These ain't my peers. Our mental level is experience and no experience. So these are the non-experienced people peers. Now look at how they come in all these different scenarios that I present to you when they come up here on the call-in show. And this is why the call-in show is probably will always be the best show that I've ever thought of and came out with and produced. And I will never be able to top it because it's raw, it's uncut, it's unfiltered, and it presents you and it shows you, the viewer, yourself in the mirror damn near. A lot of what you see represents the 90% of the people that come into this business. And most individuals that have no clue, this is another reason why you shouldn't be paying a heavy truck note. I was talking to a guy on a call Saturday. He only booked 3 loads last week. This is his third month in business. This is his third month. And last week, he only ran 3 loads. He made a total of $1,900. And guess what? I wasn't the first person he went to. I had a few calls. I think two calls Saturday. One of them, I wasn't the first person. This guy came to the final mile guy for OTR help because the OTR people he went to, he said none of that shit worked. But when he finished with me, he said, man, for a person who specializes in other shit, you gave me the best guidance for this shit. The shit you told me, none of these guys told me. Limit your overhead. Like, this is something that I can't preach enough. Now, I understand it. I understand why, you should have very low overhead. But for the life of me, I don't understand why, um, like a lot of people don't. I just don't know why people that come into this business, they find it so hard to limit their overhead. Control your fuel. Like, understand where you be stopping at, man. Plan ahead. Calculate your CPM, your real CPM. Think both of the calls I had Saturday. Even on the calls, people don't know their CPM. Like, nobody knows their CPM. Nobody. Nobody. That's a issue, bro. Like, and I just really don't understand that. And I know this is like repetitive and redundant because the people that's been watching the channel for years, you see that it just never fails. I just wish I understood why an individual comes into business and does not understand the importance of knowing they cost. I don't get that. I don't. I don't. I don't. I don't. I've sat here and tried to figure it out, and I just don't get it. It's one of those things that just boggles my mind. You come into a business and you don't calculate your costs, and then you get upset and you blame the economy, you blame the government for your shortcomings. And then once we get to the part of conversation about your cost, you don't know it. So maybe it's not all these things that people blame shit on. Maybe it's just you. Focus on one truck. This is how you gonna win in this economy if you coming into this game. This whole, man, we gotta scale and get 2 and 3 trucks. That's not the name of the game. The name of the game is to master one truck and then duplicate it. If you haven't mastered the first truck, then getting another truck too prematurely, you're just duplicating I say it all the time, you just duplicate whatever you got going on with the first truck, the second truck, you just want to duplicate it. And most people duplicate failure. They think the second truck, that's another thing I just can't understand. Like, why do people think that, well, the first truck ain't making no money? I get this second truck, then that's gonna be the money. That's the money that I'm gonna make. No. If the first truck ain't making money, the second truck ain't gonna make no. It's just what it is. So focus on one truck. You gotta master one truck. If you can't master one truck, how you gonna master two? Discipline. You got to move with it. You got to move with discipline. A lot of people don't have it. A lot of people don't have it. I think that's one of people's biggest issues, just a lack of discipline. If you do everything I said you just did that I just said to do, the lean, buying a used truck, limiting overhead, controlling fuel, focusing on one truck, moving with discipline, you'll outperform 90% of your competitors in this industry. Guaranteed. 90%. Because these are the people that enter with ego, bad spending habits, no business plan, and just unrealistic expectations. And that's another thing that we expose over here. The whole unrealistic expectation thing. The box truck is just gonna make you uber rich, and you're gonna just live the life of rally. And you rent a truck, you'll just do all these great and amazing things. And renting a truck is better than owning a truck, and all these things that I've heard on the internet over the course of the last 3.5 years since I've been creating content. And we know people believe what people hear because the live stream I did earlier, where I was reacting to some comments from the competition video that I did, you saw the one guy in the comment section say, "Hey, I hear you, but I disagree with you because everybody's not doing good right now. And if everybody's saying the same thing, if 100 people say the same thing, there's got to be truth to it." No, it's not. A lie spreads faster than the truth. And like I said earlier, 100 people was telling y'all that this shit was the best thing since sliced bread, and you believed the shit, and you failed. So no, just because a motherfucker's saying something don't necessarily mean it's true. Just because 100 people are saying the same thing don't mean it's true. You can't like you can't sell me no dream. If something sounds too good to be true, then it is. Didn't your grandma tell you that shit? Or this is something that my grandma and my mama told me? If something sounds too good to be true, then it is. Cause I ain't never heard of nothing that just sounded too good to be true. And it was. If you do all the things that I said, excuse me, to do, you can win in this economy. This ain't, this is to me, this is a great economy. You see, I'm straight because we've been planning for it. And we got to go back. We got to go back again. The people that's been following me, what have I been telling you? It was coming. And guess what? This still ain't the bottom. I know y'all waiting for me. Man, Mark, when the bottom come? It still ain't the bottom. But if you've been following me, we've been waiting for this. I've been waiting and hoping and praying for this. Why? Because this is a great opportunity. This is when the real money is made. See, the money ain't made in a good, like we sell in a good economy. But in order to sell, we got to buy. When do we buy? When everybody else is failing. Why? Because that presents the best opportunity. This is when the money is made. We gonna make it going and coming. We gonna make it going and coming, baby. It's cheaper now. Entrepreneurship is always cheaper in a slower economy. Always. Always. Everything is cheap right now. Everything. So how can you fail if you were coming in right now? It's the best opportunity. Your dollar stretches further. Your dollar is stretching further now than it ever did in 2021. So how isn't now the right time? How? How is now not the right time? When people are greedy, you should be fearful. And when people are fearful, you should be greedy. People that know how to get to a bag, it's the time to be greedy. This is a great time. I'm loving this right now. I'm loving it. Listen, I'm negotiating shit. People trying to stay. Listen, people, I'm having it my way with the negotiations right now. I'm having it my way. I'm having it my way. A couple years ago, no, it wouldn't have been like that. This economy doesn't reward a bunch of things. But let me tell you what it does reward. It rewards people that plan. Now, coming in right now, you're going to have to work extremely hard. When I started in the housing market recession crash, I had to work extremely hard. But I was in a niche that, like I said earlier, for the people that came in late, I was able to make money off of people's shortcomings. Yes, it was a recession then, and a lot of people were complaining, but I was in a position where I was taking advantage of that opportunity. Consistency. If you're coming in now and you do everything I said you do, as far as coming in lean and buying an older truck, you have to be consistent. Like, you're gonna have to work. You're gonna have to work. You're gonna have to structure yourself. You're gonna have to structure, if you have a family, your family dynamic. Everybody's gonna have to understand what you just invested into, and that sacrifices have to be made. And if sacrifices are made, then something's going to be neglected. Like, I'm not going to continue to keep having these lectures as far as as it pertains to business and separating business and family and just extracurricular things. Like, I'm telling you the real. You don't gotta like it or whatever it is, but like, if you're gonna really focus on your business, something's going to be neglected. If you focus on other things, then obviously you're neglecting your business. If you focus on your business, then obviously you're neglecting everything. So you're going to have to have some structure about yourself, and you're going to have to make some sacrifices. You're going to have a level of humility. You're going to have to hold yourself accountable. If you follow the formula, you're going to win. Listen, this is all stuff that's pretty much, I would think, I don't understand why people just don't understand this. I just don't. To me, it's cut and dry. I just thought this is something that was known, don't need to be explained. But this is crazy that so many people think business is just so simple, and they just think it's just so passive. It's harder, and it it's weird to me when people say they're starting a business because they don't want to work for somebody else, and they're just tired of working and this, that, and the third, and they want to do it for themselves, and because they have no clue that they're going to work harder than they ever have before, and most people aren't willing to do it. I'm willing to go and work harder for myself. No, you're not. Listen, if you failed, and somebody told me, Mark, that ain't always true. That's bullshit. If you failed as an employee, I just don't think you'll make a good business owner. I'm just, I'm keeping it a buck. If you just sucked and you couldn't get your shit together as an employee, and you said, "Well, I'd rather do it for myself," that's an excuse. You're making an excuse. You think that you'll have more of a ambition, tenacity. I'm just not a productive employee, but I know if I start my own business, I'll be more productive. That's cap. If you got a job, you got a scope of work to do. Either you're gonna be productive and you're gonna want to be the best at it, or you're not. If you're not good at your job, I just find it hard that you're just gonna muster up this willpower and and turn it up 100 more notches, because when you were working for a company, whether you're productive or you're not, when you start a business, wherever you were at, productive or not, you got to turn it up 100 more notches when you're working for yourself. I don't see that ambition in a lot of people I talk to. Like I could tell, like a lot of people just had this defeated mentality. I mean, I talked to what, three guys, four guys, one, two. Let me see. Sunday I talked to one, two. Ty make three. The African dude make four, and then Darnell made five. I talked to five people, and I'm gonna keep it a buck. Only two people out of those five I believe in, and Ty ain't one of them. Big Mark gonna always keep it a buck, and Ty's person I've given. If you watch that stream, a lot of y'all probably didn't know I was been mentoring this kid for probably a year and a half now. He's not even in trucking anymore. He failed in 2 weeks. He bought a course and some shit from another content creator on Instagram, and they sent him whatever it was. He ran through a dime in 2 weeks and failed. 10,000, 2 weeks in and out of there. So he has a chip on his shoulder against any content creator other than me, because these are the people he was following and he blames them for his failure. Big Mark's blueprint is what's getting him a bag and moving. But I don't feel confident about him based on what some of the shit that you saw. I'm gonna keep it a buck. The only two people out of those five people that I feel confident about is the last guy, Darnell, and the Somali kid. Not to say that the other three individuals won't show promise, but I'm good at what I do. I'm a good judge of character. I can read people really, really well. Only two out of five, I absolutely 100% believe that they going to continue to go up and to the right. And that's the Somali kid, and that's Darnell. Darnell, because I've seen his growth over the course of the past 2 years since he's been calling up. And the Somali kid just had a level of ambition that you don't see in a lot of people. I don't see in a lot of people that call up, even though I think he was getting ahead of himself a lot. Even just that, just what he had, I just don't hear that from people. I think the African dude, the Congo African dude, I think he's like this other dude that watches the channel that is in the Discord also could do. So I think these technical guys that went to school for higher learning and they got degrees and like technical degrees. What I've learned about these types of guys is when they find an industry that's blue collar, like trucking and moving, they think because they have an IQ or they have a degree that's um on the technical side, like engineering and shit like that, they think this is a cakewalk, and then they quickly find out it's not, especially on the moving side. Just even dealing with the type of people that you have to deal with. So me being in that industry, him being in that industry on the new, and on top of that, being in my market, he ended up gangstering him. And he gonna need it. This is why people leaving bids and shit like that. So now when you look at 5 people that came up, I got a strong belief in 2 of them. That's 40%. The other 3 just felt defeated. They just seemed defeated. It's just not that's not something that like just just mm-mm. You can't have a defeated mindset. In economies like this, you got to understand in tight economies like this, wealth, which is what everybody wants, it transfers from emotional people to disciplined people. And I just see a lot of emotion out here. And this is something I've been talking about since I came back. Like over the course of the month that I was gone, I seen it already. You dig what I'm saying? Before I left, but like, obviously with just the events that happened, and low key, I'm kind of glad that I wasn't creating, and I was just busy doing other shit, right? In my life, getting shit uh done that I just couldn't focus on this shit. Uh, I'm glad I wasn't. Yeah, wealth transfers from emotional people to disciplined people. When people are, confused and scared and paralyzed and just talking themselves out of opportunity. And talking yourself out of an opportunity is not a bad thing, especially if it's not the right time. But that's not the case right now. That was the case in 2021. There's no way on God's green earth I would have bought a fucking $20,000 truck for $80,000. You know how many people just had to let their trucks go? You've seen some of them on the channel. Remember in 2023 when people was coming on the channel with a top mark deals and wanted me to look over their deals, and I was breaking down their deals for them. They was buying them $60,000, $70,000 trucks, but by the time it was all said and done, it's paying $110,000, paying double for it. Remember people who was watching the channel around that time? Paying $100,000 after it was all said and done for a 10-year-old truck. Shit was crazy. That was the time that I would have sat still. I would have waited for the market to stabilize. So yeah, to all the people who ask the most asked question every year, especially around this time, because the people that are inquiring now, and I've been doing content long enough to understand and know the trends. This is the time that people that are looking to enter that don't have the resources and the capital are prepping for the resources and capital, and we know what that is: tax season. Your baby mama said she was going to hit you with the money, right? So now these are the people that do the research. They start doing their research going into the holiday season because January is right around the corner, and they gonna take the tax money and come into the box truck business. So this is the most asked question around this time of the year. Is this economy good to start a box truck business? And the answer is yes. But if you're gonna enter the same way 90% of the people enter, then you are absolutely, positively, 100%. And this ain't me being bogus. This just me just calling it what it is. You're gonna 100% fail. Because this ain't a game. Even though you call it the box truck game. This is a business. It has always been a business. It's always gonna be a business. And there's gonna be people in here that understand it. They know how to capitalize on other people's ignorance. And that's what they're gonna do. And you're not gonna even see it coming. Take a few questions and I'm gonna get out of here. Nightcrawler has been hollering about people getting in the repo game for a few months now. And you know what? Right now, America has seen the most repos that it has ever seen in history. Currently 10.2, and I know the numbers off the top of my head because I pay attention to shit that matters. 10.2 million Americans right now are up for repossession. So yeah, what he's saying, there's some truth to it. But here's the thing: you'd be chasing hype because it's not going to always be like that. But now does present a great opportunity. The thing is, though, with that Nightcrawler, the resources to start a repossession business, that barrier to entry is a lot higher than starting a box truck business. Because if you get a tow truck, there's two different forms of towing. You got safety tow, and then you got recovery tow, right? In order to do a repo business, that falls under the side of recovery towing, right? And another thing that you need when if you are going to be licensed for recovery tow as well as safety tow, is you have to have a parking lot. So, yes, now presents a great time to start a repossession business, but the barrier to entry is a little bit higher than a box truck business. Yeah, but there's a lot of opportunity right now. Right now, the repossession business is comparable to the demand of the goods, the goods transportation business of the pandemic. That demand that you saw as far as transporting goods, then that's the demand that it's comparable to that as far as the repossession industry. Now, the repossession industry right now is so bad that a lot of the finance companies really don't want the cars back because it's so many of them. They're trying to figure out ways to let people keep their car. That's how bad it is. It's bad to the point that they don't even want to take the car. It's too many cars to take back. And they know that reselling them is going to be difficult because the economy is bad. Repossession business, to me, I mean, it's not something that I would do, but to an individual that wants to do it, now is a great opportunity. Me personally, I wouldn't want to do it. Not here and not in this market. Too risky. The repossession guys here, they have follow cars, 1-2 security cars. Just gotta watch them. Shit, the boot man, the city, when they come around and boot your car, they wear bulletproof vests. So it's not something that I would personally want to do here. It's just too risky, But now would be the time. It's definitely a demand for repossessions right now, for sure. Shout out to Danny Wayne in the building. Danny Wayne, did you get your shit together? I hope you got your shit together. Danny Wayne. Chucky says 26-footer going for 17. The 26 going for 17 in ATL, paying 60 to 80 is crazy. Definitely remember seeing people in the call in say they brought a truck for 60K. Yep, those are the days. The trucks is way cheaper now. Yeah. The TV show Billions showed us that the best time to make money is during chaos. Absolutely. Absolutely. Listen, when I'm telling you right now, if you was looking for anything right now that was worth value, now is the time to try to find it. Because if somebody's selling it right now, that lets you know that they're in a tough spot. So this is when the money is made, ladies and gentlemen. This is when the money is made. Let me see. Let me see. What's up, Marie? Would you say? Randy says, Random Comedy 101 says, Mark, would you say you've made over $1 million during your The reason why it's funny to me, because I did a live stream where I showed the taxes of my 2014 year. That was the first. I made over $1 million that year alone. So it's funny because you said over my tenure. I made my first $1 million gross year was 2014. So I made $1 million over a decade ago, doing that in 12 months. So in trucking $1 million, if you at scale, that's not a difficult feat. A lot of that money goes back out. So if you at scale, that ain't nothing. Most of it goes back out anyway. So yeah, $1 million over my tenure, making over $1 million a year. Oh yeah. Yep. 608. We will talk soon. Okay. Chucky says car market definitely down right now. 608 says actually you definitely finesse. We're in a market correction when people are fearful. The wolves are greedy when the people exactly. And this is something, and this is why shout out to everybody that's been watching my channel for years. that has just, watch the channel and listen to the things that I've said and just remember like all the challenge, how I used to get challenged from other content creators back in the day when I first started creating to because a lot of the stuff that I was saying, I don't know if these people just like I wish I could know what they were thinking when I was saying a lot of the stuff that I was saying. And but I know they know now that, and I think I was touching on this point earlier and I got sidetracked. I think when I first started creating content at that time, I was saying things that were different than a lot of them were saying. And a lot of them had just started in this business within that year. Right. So, when you got a bunch of people on the left saying the same thing that's full of hype and hope. And then you got my black ass just coming out of nowhere saying the complete opposite thing. I was like the Debbie Downer guy. And I mean, here we are 3.5 years later, and everything I said just you just saw it just go into fruition, go into fruition. And even this economy that we're in now, I've been calling for it. I said it was gonna happen. It was inevitable and it's here. I just don't understand why, people are so hopeful for something that isn't like shit. This is how shit goes, bro. Shit don't just go like that all like just it just keeps going that way, bro. So that's the part that's crazy to me, even from the people that may not have the experience and the tenure that I have in business or even in this industry. I would think that a person who has common sense would know that shit does not just continue to go up. Like business is like life. Anybody that tells you life for them has just been just rosy is full of shit. We all have issues and problems. Everybody's problem is not financial. You may have your problems may be financial. The next person's problems may be health related. The next person's problem may be, neither of those. Their problem may be, you know, uh, you know, they're facing jail time or some shit like that. Or, they may not have financial issues or health issues, but they may have a sickly child. Everybody got issues and problems and things arise in life that you have to be prepared for because like I always tell people you have to prepare for the unexpected. I just don't understand why people just don't understand what I think people should just know. Like that shit is crazy to me, man. I just don't get it. When I say box truck business, do you mean last mile or just normal? I mean anything. Final mile, middle mile. I don't really when it comes to like Amazon, I don't really like I I look at Amazon as like a supplemental thing. So I wouldn't even classify that like I wouldn't structure a business around Amazon. And this is something I've said since day one, and people were critical of that. I remember when I was talking about Amazon 3.5 years ago, I got a lot of flack for that shit. Now look, even with that, I was right. I wouldn't structure a business around that. I wouldn't build a business on that like I wouldn't solely try to me personally wouldn't solely try to build a business on that platform. It's too unpredictable. I look at it building a business on Amazon like investing in Tesla. Too unpredictable. That's why I invest in Tesla. Even though it's a good stock, Elon could just say something one day and guess what? It's going to go there. I know it's going to go back up because it always does, but who wants to go through an emotional roller coaster based on what this motherfucker, how he feeling a specific day of the week? I don't want to go through that. So me personally, I stay away from it. So but yeah, When I say it's a good time, I'm speaking in from a middle mile perspective and a final mile perspective for sure. From middle mile perspective and a final mile perspective for sure. Uh, so the national debt keeps going on with homelessness. Yeah, homelessness is something that man, who was that asking me the other day? Asked me a question if I could fix something. I said it would be homelessness. Was that here on the channel? Yeah, homelessness is an issue. I see more tents. I see more tent cities than I've ever seen in my life. I've never seen tents in the park before until the last couple years. It's not something that like homelessness here was isolated to, mostly, you know, downtown. We got like a lower area downtown where it's like 2 levels underground, but it's like streets under there. And like a lot of the high rise buildings downtown, like their loading docks are like a level or 2 levels underground, like Lower Wacker, Lower Randolph, Garvey Street, Lower Lake, so on and so forth. Down there, Lower Columbus too, so on and so forth. And a lot of homeless people will be down there because they shield it from the element of the upper level where, outside. And you see random homeless people throughout the city, but like never in the parks, never on the expressway, like side of the expressway ramps. And now you just see tent cities popping up, in different places that, you wouldn't see them. You know why? Cost of living is high. People are being displaced. Um, but like he's saying, like the cost of living, I'm 45 years old and I've never seen the cost of living go in reverse. I know I got an audience of different ages. And, I remember when like my second car I got in 98, living on the east side of Chicago, the Indiana border was like 10 minutes away. I would go over to Indiana. I could fill up for like 8, $9. Gas was 89 cents a gallon. So I remember when gas was less than $1 a gallon. You see what I'm saying? We'll never see that shit again. I remember you can get a couple loaves of bread for $1, 2, 3 loaves. Was it 2 loaves or 3 loaves for $1? Like we'll never see that shit again. So I remember when Jordans, which were still very expensive then, with what y'all know are retros. Now I was getting them when the tens originally came out, when they were 10, they was 125. I remember getting them when they was first coming out. I remember getting the black and red 11s February 96, right before his birthday, right before the All-Star game, $1.25. Now Jordan's a couple $100. And guess what? You might not be able to get them, right? They got the retro craze now. You got to get up early morning, stand in line, all this goofy ass shit. Like we could go have a full day in school, get out of school, wait for mama to get home, then mama get home at 4, 5 o'clock, take you to the shoe store and get the shoe in your size. It wasn't like this hype thing that it is now. Like, you know what I'm saying? So a lot has changed. You could buy a brand new car for less than $10,000. You can get you a decent, nice car, like a Geo Tracker, for under $10. you know, you could fill up your tank for under $10. So shit going to continue to get worse and worse and worse. It's just what it is, and I just don't understand. People just, I don't know. People just, well, man, why you being negative? It's not negative. It's just what it is. You want to make more money, right? So that means this person has to pay more money, charge people more money, and this is going to increase the cost. People that work at grocery stores, but you can't find a high school kid nowadays to bag groceries. See, that was a minimum wage job that was specifically for a high school kid. who was happy to make $4 or $4.50 or $5 or $6 an hour, depending on the era we're talking about as it pertains to minimum wage. Nowadays, you can't get a high school kid to do minimum wage jobs. High school kids have found ways to make money via other ways. Scamming, you see a lot of them scamming. A lot of these high school kids, as far as they may not be bright when it comes to like telling time and counting and shit, but they know how to run cash app scams and shit. You see these high school kids dripped. So now you go to a grocery store, person that works in a grocery store, they want to make a decent wage, $20 an hour. All right. Well, guess what? These labor costs are going to get baked into the price of the grocery. So all the other prices, all the other costs that are associated into the price of the groceries that we pay at the register, as far as the transportation, the labor, so on and so forth, is uh, accounts for the cost of inflation as well, too. That trucker that went viral that I clipped up and did the reaction to on TikTok wanting the minimum $4 a mile. But he doesn't understand that's going to get baked into the cost of the goods, which is going to contribute to inflation too. So if people want these things, they got to understand that there's going to be repercussions behind it. So yeah, inflation is going to continue to rise. It's going to continue to go up. It's going to get worse. I think something does need to be done. They're gonna have to figure something out. I don't agree with the 50-year mortgage. But hey, if they pass that shit and you decide to go do a 50-year mortgage, that's shame on. I mean, that's not something I would do, but they're gonna have to figure something out. Cause I agree with Nightcrawler. It's gonna get uglier. Most kids are not going to work at the food city because of social media telling them to scam, be an influencer, and do. I agree. I think jobs that, if you could get a job, like if your parents would let you get a job at high school, working at White Castles or something after school, working at McDonald's 4 hours after school, bagging groceries at the grocery store, you know what I'm saying? Those are jobs that high school kids died to have. Nowadays you get looked down upon. So yeah. Yeah. I think kids now, that's not enough for them. They looking to be the next influencer. They looking to do shit on the internet that jeopardizes their integrity. They'll do anything to catch a viral moment to get on. So yeah, I agree with you on that. Um, is it a good idea to start your own moving company or Lowe's moving drywall with boom trucks? Me personally, I would start I would study the industry, the moving industry. I would go work for a moving company probably for the summer to learn the business inside and out. And me personally, I would if you said a moving company or the boom truck thing that you said, I would do the moving company. I would do the moving company. It's a lot of money in it, a lot of hard work, but if you're not scared of the work and you are a hard worker yourself, then yeah, it's a lot of money in moving. I don't think I'm gonna do any more of those stock shows. The ones that I did last year, I did one season of it, and I made a lot of people a lot of money. And when it was time to get out, people didn't get out. I got out. When I told people, look, I made some people followed me and made, I don't want to go into details, just say it was up there, well over six figures in the course of 3, 4 months. And, a lot of people, they didn't get out. you know, so and it was for members only, but I just said I ain't gonna do it because even though it was good and I made the people the money, like, yeah, I don't want to be responsible for it. One of these days I may make just a bad decision. I don't want to be responsible. See, people will celebrate you for the wins, but as soon as there's a loss, they gonna forget all the wins and they'll demonize you. And I'm not saying people would do that. I just don't want to be on the hook for that, you know. So I learned that after that time, and it took me saying, okay, boom, we made the money, but when it was time to divest and take the profits, nobody took the profits except me. And guess what? That was Q1 going into Q2 of 2024, right? And uh that cycle never came back. A lot of YouTubers that do content um in investing, like obviously I'm still invest. I do plays, but a lot of YouTubers that actually do content on investing, at that time were calling for a second phase of the bull run, and I just wasn't sold on it. And that's why I took all the money that was printing at the end of 2023 going into 2024. January was a big month. February is a huge month. March, it hit March, everything hit all time highs, and that's when I got out. Um, After that, like right after that, the market started to retrace. And then it continued to retrace, slowly. And then they were saying, okay, around the election time, it's going to be phase two, similar to the cycle of 2020, 2021. And I just wasn't sold. And the only thing that really ran during that time period was things that were related to Trump and Melania, just like political shit, meme shit. And here we are now, October 2025, and most of the market is retraced about 80-85%. So what I said, obviously the people that were a part of those groups during that time period, Cars and Cribs was one, and he actually talked about it on his channel. He gave me my flowers, but he also admitted he didn't listen to me. And I ain't gonna tell you, but he like he said, he followed me every play I did. So he made, but he didn't, even down to me telling him, he tells the story. I told him to sell his Bitcoin. And he was against it, and people were saying, man, don't listen to him. He don't know what he's talking about. But he listened to me, and he made more money following me than he would if he would have held on to the Bitcoin. He told the story. The market retraced like I figured it would, because when I was looking at the trends, I'm looking at the cycle just in reverse. I've always learned to follow my first mind. Like I've been in enough cycles to just know. The first cycle I was in, I held on for dear life. So I had to wait for the next cycle in order to, make money. I held on too long. So that was in the mid 2010s. Every cycle after that, I just don't want to take profits. I invest early enough that I don't have to wait and hold on. If I invest into something now in a market that has retraced for the most part, like the alts, 80-85%, and I start investing, by the time we have another run, I invested so early that whatever they're predicting, I don't have to wait that long to sell. If I buy something, let's say at 10 cents, and I buy 100,000 shares of it and it goes to $3, do the math. Yeah, they may be calling for a high of $9 or $10. Why would I risk waiting for that? because it could be a situation like what happened last year and it could never get there. If I buy something at 10 cent and I have an average cost of, let's say, 20 cents on something, because I bought so cheap, do the math on a 20-cent average, 100,000 shares, and I paid on average 20 cent for each one, and I sell them $3 times 100,000 of them. Greedy pigs get led to the slaughter. So if you buy early enough, you don't have to wait and hold on for dear life and hope it gets to this all-time high. Nah. It was an all-time high for me. If I got an average cost of something of 20 cent and I got hundreds of thousands or millions of shares of them, just dollar is a win for me. 75 cent, 50 cent. Then you just take that money and you move it to something else. You don't take it out and spend it. You literally just take it and you move it somewhere else. And that's how you stay ahead of the curve. So now when situations like this, you still can win. You still winning because now you're looking at this situation as an opportunity to do it all over again. This is when I'm buying. I'm buying now. I'm buying. Auto, just buying. Made a lot of money in it was a stock. I think Kenneth was on the show a couple months ago. I didn't tell the name of the stock. And I kind of regret it. But I wasn't sure that it was going to do what it did, and it did. That was open door. It doubled. I bought in at $3. That shit went to 9 in 30 days. So it's retraced some, but I don't know, man. I'm not really. I don't know if I really want to do the stock shit, bro. Mm. Uh. Mm. Let me see. More layoffs coming. Who will be a huge business increase plumber, electrician? Yeah, all vocational industries, um, plumbing, electrician, there's going to be a need for that. A lot of younger people aren't signing up for these apprenticeships, so there's an opening. It's wide open right now. So I don't understand why a younger individual doesn't want to be a plumber or an electrician. That's like a big old bag of money. Uh, Lawyers getting cooked by AI, consultants getting cooked by AI. Yeah, consultants are going to be screwed. Graphic designers are going to be screwed. Interior decorators, interior designers are going to be screwed. Like, excuse me, a big part of my rehab here, like as far as like choosing paint colors and like drapes and shit, even this layout for this studio, I generated all this with AI. I didn't get an interior designer. Somebody asked me, "Did you have a?" No, I took pictures of every room and I asked AI to design the shit for me. And down to the paint, AI picked the best. Like the paint that I chose throughout the unit, AI picked it. It looked at the unit, it saw the exposed brick, saw the high ceilings, it understood automatically that this was a loft. It could tell the direction of the floor to ceiling windows, which side it was facing, so it understood that when the sun rises in the east and it sets in the west, so it understood what side I'm on, and it utilized all that to do the color for the paint. I inputted the information on kind of like the direction I wanted to go with this studio, and it laid it out for me. Uh, Told me where to order the materials. It told me what type of paint. It gave me the texture of the paint, so that the lights could pop. It gave me the neon. It told me the brand to get. It gave me the layout. It just did everything. I didn't have to hire an interior designer. Only thing I had to do was take it to Chat GPT, let it tell me what it wanted. If I didn't like it, or if I wanted to make some changes, input my ideas, made it perfect, and bought the materials and gave it to the contractors. That's it. So yeah, even down to an interior, like AI is yeah, I think a lot of like consulting uh businesses are just not gonna be a use for them. AI is advancing very quickly. So yep. So Bazooka says all it takes is one to two good trades a year. Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna be honest with you. Um, I ain't gonna say the number, but one holding last year was in the mid six figures, and I made that over the course of a couple months, and I exited March of last year. So yeah, yeah. If you know what you're doing and you buy in early enough and you dollar cost average in, yeah, one good trade to do it. You know, one good trade to do it. You dig? All right. Gen Z walking, waking up to being cooked. So many texting. Okay, direct. I'm not going into blue collar jobs. Or going towards tech. Chucky says he disagrees. Most young people are not going into blue collar jobs. Most are going into tech. So now that can be debated, and here's why. Here's why that can be debated. I think a lot of Gen Z people do want to go into tech, but I think as AI advances, I think AI is going to start to code within itself for itself. And this is why some of these tech jobs that you've seen recently, some of these guys have been laid off. A lot of those companies like Meta and some other companies that were looking for coders and tech guys during the pandemic, and they were offering them all these bonuses to come on. They used them. They got the knowledge that they needed from them. They had them build, and now they have no use for them anymore. Um, I think AI is going to, you know, start coding for itself eventually, believe it or not. So a lot of those tech guys are going to be displaced too. I think I think some people are just. I think it's gonna be a combination of kind of what, kind of like what are you saying, but like what Nightcrawler was saying. I think it's going to continue. Inflation is going to continue to go, up because it's just what it does anyway. That's inevitable. Uh, I think it's going to be more difficult for people to survive. I was going to react to, that trend that's going on TikTok with all these women and shit just complaining about how hard it is, and they're just crying on TikTok and just like really crying, trying to figure out how people are just making it out here and how they go to work all day, and um, they just don't have enough money to, after they pay their bills, they're broke or they don't have, whatever the case. It's a trend going on TikTok. I had the thumbnail ready. I was going to do the reaction to it, and then I just decided, no. We in a society right now where you just, you know, people shun people that just not struggling or not in a situation. But I didn't want to. I just didn't. I don't know, man. I just decided not to put it out. Just decided not to put it out, not do it. But anyway, what you see right now with that trend going on TikTok, I think it's going to get worse. You know, so it's going to get worse, and with that, it's eventually people, which is going to be younger people, Gen Z people, they're going to have to wake up, and they're going to have to force themselves to go take these opportunities. If the opportunities are presenting themselves, they're going to have to just stop being stubborn, right? Thinking that they can be a content creator or an influencer or all these things that they want, a streamer, and they're gonna have to go do the jobs that are available. They're gonna have to go to these apprenticeships. They're gonna have to do the plumbing. They're gonna have to do the electrician. They're gonna have to do the welder, the mechanic. They're gonna have to do these things. I think eventually it's just gonna get to the point where it's just gonna be like, you know, all else fails, they're gonna be forced. I don't know how much longer it's gonna take, but I think that's the point that the shit is gonna get to. From what you've seen, plumbing apprenticeships are begging people to come. Yeah, at the Home Depot. I don't know. Did I talk about this before I took my haze? Home Depot. I don't know if they still have this program, but they had a free program, a free apprenticeship program, which I think was smart. Why? Because Home Depot understands. Look, if the younger generation isn't going and doing these apprenticeship jobs, we sell the shit that plumbers need, electricians need, so on and so forth. We need people to do these jobs because if people aren't doing these jobs, if there's a shortage on these people to do these jobs and there's a demand for these jobs to be done, that means that's less material that we're going to sell. I think it's a smart move on their behalf. So let's fund these apprenticeship programs to see if that'll influence people to come in and take advantage of it being for free so that we can create a supply of electricians and a supply of plumbers, so on and so forth in the market so that they can build a business or become contractors or freelancers and get the jobs so that they can come in the store and buy the supplies. I think it's a smart move on their behalf. I don't know if that program has booked up, but yeah, they were offering that like a month or two ago. So, and guess what? The people that I know who signed up for it, women. I don't really know what's going on with the guys out here in these streets now, man. These dudes is lazy. Uh, let's see. You they ended SNAP benefits in Section 8. Yeah, I, yeah, that shit was wild last month. Like, or when did that happen? Was that this month when they cut the SNAP off? That was this month, right? Yeah, it was this month. Hey, man, look, they cut it off for like a day, maybe like 10 years ago or so. I remember, and people was going crazy, and they said it was a glitch. I don't think it was a glitch. I think it was a test to see how people would react. And when it happened this month because of the government shutdown, I think what that did was put things put things into perspective for a lot of people. And you know, some people who may have you know just not been making the right decisions. Hopefully, that uncomfortable situation has changed their mindset. So I don't know. Uh, you said you've been thinking about HVAC. Yeah, HVAC is a good lane to get into. Um, it's a lot of money to be made in HVAC, heating and cooling. Yep, a lot of money to be made. See, Home Depot does it now on the website too. Your friend, uh, my friend is currently doing it now. Okay. So do they allow you to pick the vocation, or they just select, or is it like a combination of everything? Or how do they do it? Do you get to pick plumbing or electrician, HVAC? Like how does that work? How does that work? So logic is undeniable. Yeah, so yeah, man. So yeah, man. It's a lot going on right now. But everybody ain't in the position that a lot of people are in. A lot of the people that's in the position that they in right now, that I talk to or that I know or that I see across the internet when they on TikTok complaining and shit, they always tell on themselves. If you listen, like it was one lady that was crying. I was watching somebody react to it. She's crying and saying how bad she's struggling and da da da. And then she told on herself. She got this damn pet and the veterinarian bills are just high. And then now somebody got to be the bad guy and just be like, yo, well, you may not be able to afford a pet. A pet is like a kid. If you can't, and maybe even, I don't want to say worse if that's the right word, because if she works and she has insurance, then the kid will be on the insurance. I don't know if they have like veterinarian insurance for animals, but I know when I had my warehouse, I had them pit bulls, and every time I had to take them damn dogs to the veterinarian, I think the cheapest vet bill I had was 400 or 500 bucks. Like that shit was always north of 400 or 500 bucks. Like, so, she's complaining, but then she has something that she doesn't necessarily have to have. I think a lot of the things, the situations that we put ourselves in as humans are due to our own choices and decisions. So, that's the truth of the matter. I trust me, I know people that just, I listen. I know people that just complain, 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 and then like I have to be like, "Yo, you went to Tulum last month. Didn't you go to Tulum last month? All right, then did you think about this when you took that trip? Well, man, I put that on this or I put on that. All right, well, still you owe. I mean, if you pay for it on a payment plan, that means you shouldn't have went in the first place. So a lot of the times when people are complaining about shit, they put themselves into those situations. I compare a lot of the shit that I see people doing now, and I think back, like I said, to my childhood. Like I don't remember my OG doing a lot of the shit I see people do today. Parents do. You know what I'm saying? I seen hard work and sacrifice, right? But then I see people on TikTok complaining about they work all day and or work every day, and then after they pay their bills, they don't have no money and they want to do things and they want to live life. And then I'm just like, well, shit, that's all I remember growing up. Mama working, paying bills, and that was it. I thought that was being an adult. That's what I thought. I thought when you go to work and you pay bills, that's called being an adult. Not everybody gonna make enough money or go to work and make money and then pay bills and then have this overabundance of money left over to go out and play. Not everybody gonna be in that position. Why? Because some people gonna work harder than others. Some people that do might want to go out and get a chance to kick it once every other week or once a week. They may have to go get a second job. Are you willing to go get a second job? You say you want to start a business so you can have the what do you call it, the generational wealth. and all this shit. But then what we see play out now, right? Because the curtain is pulled back now. All the pandemic bullshit, all the fucking fake shit that was going on, all the sitting on the box truck like this with your arms folded with the hashtag new business owner and flexing like you just this smart guy that started this box truck, and you just so smart and you figured out. We already know that's cap. You see what I'm saying? That shit is just was make believe, la la land. You couldn't fail because the rates were high due to the egregious amount of demand uh uh that was out there. Now the people who winning now are the people that really know what they doing. And I lost my train of thought. I don't even know where I was finna go with that shit. I was finna go somewhere with it, but I lost my train of thought. So it is. I was finna go somewhere too with it. I just don't remember. Pookie said you doing it right now. Trade school and college. Okay. Congratulations. What you going for? So they have specific sections for each one. He just picked plumbing. Cool. Cool, man. I hope everything work out for him, man. That's good, man. You got some people that's jumping ahead because I think eventually a lot of people gonna have to jump into trades, man. They ain't gonna have no choice. Oh, I know where I was finna go. The business thing is not for everybody. A lot of people that think they gonna come into business, they just don't got it. They ain't gonna have it. They ain't got it. A lot of people ain't gonna do the shit that I've had to do in business. Some of the shit that y'all have heard me talk about just throughout my content, like when I got interviewed and shit like that. Like I just know a lot of people ain't willing to do it. A lot of people ain't gonna make the sacrifices. A lot of sacrifices was made, and I know a lot of people, they just ain't at that level of discipline. So that separates, certain individuals from certain individuals. That's just what it is, man. All right. So man, this was a good little late night chat. I said I was gonna try to do at least one a week. If you don't catch me, don't get mad at me. I know next week is Thanksgiving, so you might not catch me next week. But I say I'm gonna try to do one late night one to catch my overnight audience that drives at night. I think we got up to about 70 people tonight. I think I saw like 65 a few minutes ago. Whatever. I know I gotta build my audience up. I think that month, 5 weeks hit, that shit kind of worked against my momentum that I had, but we'll get it back. It ain't no big deal. But I'm gonna try to hit my overnight people that drive overnight at least once a week, give y'all a little show in the middle of the night. You dig what I'm saying? To kind of help y'all burn some miles and get down the road. You dig what I'm saying? But I'm finna go ahead and jump in this bed, and appreciate everybody. Make sure y'all stay safe out there tonight. Get down the road, get home. Shout out to Ice Cold 371. This is a great late session. Appreciate it. Keep up the vibes. I'm gonna try. I'm gonna try, man. These late night sessions, man. I gotta because I was a little sleepy. I was contemplating, but I said, man, let me go ahead and do it tonight. While I was a little sleepy, but once the camera came on, then you dig what I'm saying. I got the cooking, you dig. So it's all good in the hood, man. I appreciate y'all. Y'all stay safe, stay blessed. Peace.